Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the untamed frontier of Central Idaho. The headwaters of the middle fork of the Salmon River is sparsely populated by people even now. The steep, decomposed granite mountains are covered with pine and fir trees and low-growing berry bushes like blueberry, huckleberry, elderberry, and raspberry. These berry bushes provide seasonal nutrients, sugars, and minerals to animals ranging from chipmunks to grizzly bears. Mountain bluebirds stand out as they flit through the green scrub bush that screen the privacy of the deer and the elk that roam the valleys. This area is extremely rugged and very isolated, but in June of 1886, it was the kind of country that beckoned to tough frontier people. Old Ike was one of the most successful bear hunters in the Rocky Mountains and called Central Idaho his home. With ranches and farms springing up across the newly formed state, the demand for a bear hunter was at an all-time high. Many of the ranchers and farmers in Idaho had to raise their food and hope for enough to sell to others. Bears didn't bother following the customs of human society and would simply kill and eat whatever livestock they would need to survive. That's when Old Ike came into the picture. He would study the bear and its patterns and carefully set up a confrontation he knew he would win. He would get a nice grizzly rug or hide and some meat and some very useful bear tallow out of the deal, and they would also pay him for his services. There were safer jobs a man could do, but most of these jobs are taken by men who aren't brave enough to be a bear bounty hunter. Old Ike was a hunting legend as he single-handedly killed around 100 grizzly bears, bringing safety to livestock herds and prosperity to ranches and farms throughout Idaho. He's been contacted about a huge grizzly up on the untamed Salmon River headwaters that is terrorizing local ranches. Old Ike and a few young partners head toward the area and in a few days are speaking with the ranch owners about the problem bears in the area. Most ranchers feel like they can handle the black bears of the area, but this giant grizzly bear that calls the area around Dagger Falls his home is far too fierce for them to handle. Old Ike agrees with his partners to head out and find the giant grizz and bring a little frontier justice to him. As Old Ike and his group arrive in the area, they survey the lay of the land. Being familiar with grizzly bears, Old Ike knows that the bears will use certain resources at certain times and other resources at other times. And this early in the summer, the bears will be hunting deer fawns and elk calves along the mountain meadows. Predators including wolves, cougars, and bears use the transition and cover between forests and meadows to sneak upon their prey. Ike knows this and begins searching meadow edges for bear tracks and scat. The hunters are about 2 weeks into their stalk when they come across some huge and very promising tracks along a small creek. They are definitely grizzly bear tracks, and big enough to be the tracks of the dominant bear in the area. Old Ike is certain it is the bear he's looking for. The hunters set up a few baits and traps to see if they can lure the big bear into the open, and it isn't long before they are seeing some interesting progress. They find the bear's tracks leaving a marsh and follow him for several miles. At the far end of the meadow, they see the big bear striding across the edge of the trees. The men hustle to a point at which they can intercept the bear, and their hard work pays off with a good shot. Old Ike follows his instincts and is rewarded with a good solid hit on the giant bruin. When shooting a large bear, the hunter will ideally strike a bone of some sort. The most damaging shots will break the bones of the shoulder, legs, or hips. This will keep the bear from going too far too fast and will hopefully keep it from killing you. Old Ike's shot passed through the ribs and created a nice blood trail, but definitely didn't break anything structural, like a bone. The men trailed the bear until its blood trail led into a patch of very thick, small trees. This type of tree patch is called the jack pine patch, and consists of shorter pine trees typically under about 8 feet in height. The branches grow wide and low and create an environment that is easy to move through, but very difficult to see even medium distances in. Old Ike knows how bears and other animals use jack pine stands to conceal themselves or their escape routes, so he slowly follows each drop of blood into the stand, moving from drop to drop and splatter to splatter. The old man is not what he used to be in his youth, as his vision and hearing are losing their sharpness. He can see the larger blood spatters easily, but misses some of the smaller drops. His hearing still picks up the lower loud tones, like a growl, but doesn't quite get the higher pitched sounds anymore, like small twigs snapping just a few yards to his right. Unbeknownst to Old Ike, the wily grizzly bear has set up a trap to catch his hunter. Being a predator himself, the bear knows if he walks in a straight line and circles back to within just a few yards of his old trail, his hunter will walk right in front of him without knowing how close the bear is. And that is exactly what the giant bear does. As Old Ike follows the blood sign and tracks further into the jack pine stand, he incrementally follows a path that leads him right in front of the concealed bear. Just as Old Ike walks past the bear, the giant bruin leaps from its hiding spot and shoves the hunter to the ground. This bear is so large that the frail and gaunt old man is no match for him and thumps on the ground. The enraged and wounded grizzly next opens up its enormous mouth and bites into Old Ike's chest. The enraged and wounded grizzly next opens its enormous mouth and bites into Old Ike's chest. As the bear closes its jaws, his canine teeth puncture the skin and penetrate Old Ike's ribcage. Then the bear crushes the old man's chest with a single bite. Old Ike's hunting partners can hear the yelling and growling coming from the jack pine patch and rush in to see what's going on. As they approach, they can see the bear standing over Old Ike and run the bear off so they can help their friend. Shooting at the bear as it stood over Ike could have wounded or killed their friend, and the bear fled the attack scene quickly anyway. Old Ike is in bad shape, and he's struggling to breathe. His face is wrinkled in pain, and his color is fading as he's losing the battle for his life. In only a few minutes, his breath shortens, and he dies from the injuries imparted by the grizzly bear. Old Ike's legacy as a bear bounty hunter is cemented into Idaho history. With his passing, and many farmers and ranchers say he brought stability and safety to the frontier. But today there are some who say he decimated a species he may have misunderstood. What do you think? Do you think Old Ike performed a necessary service to the area farms and ranches? Or do you think he did more damage than he helped? As you post your response, I want to make sure to remind you that if you enjoyed today's episode, you can show us by liking our video and subscribing to our channel. Then click the bell icon to make sure you're notified of our latest episodes. Sharing our videos to your friends on social networks is a great way to share the fun. Also, in our merch store, we have some amazing deals on camping sandals and flip-flops. They're high quality and bring out the camping spirit while you're enjoying the great outdoors. We also have drink koozies, PJs for the whole family, and all kinds of drink holders from water bottles to coffee mugs to keep your camping drinks delicious. Next time you go camping, do it in style with Scary Bear Attack camping gear. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks, and please be careful, especially in bear country.